Hello, my friends. We are live. I've been having, I tried to go live 3 times because I'm having all these tech problems. And I'm going to put in these headphones. So I'm hoping you can hear me this time. And today, let me know if you can hear me. Sometimes it's a Bluetooth. Okay, yay! It's a Bluetooth. The other headphones have Bluetooth in them. But I'm just coming live to talk about my new class, and I'm going to save this video and I'm going to upload it to YouTube and the audio to my podcast because I know some people can't join live or they want to watch and learn later. But I'm very excited. I've been having all these tech problems as we signed on. It was like this big energy. And I'm curious, like, if people have experienced this, let me know because this happens to me all the time. My smoke alarms, they go off. There's no smoke. There's no smoke. This time it was a carbon monoxide alarm that was beeping and went off right before I got on live. And that, of course, stressed me out because we can't see carbon monoxide. There's a fire. I know that there's a fire. But it's a spiritual energy. This happens to me a lot. Like batteries will drain around me. My computer, my phone. I mean, I'm on my phone all the time. So that it feels more like a technology problem is just draining because I'm constantly using it. But it's the carbon monoxide, it's the smoke alarms, or like things will break. And it's very interesting because I feel like it's this large energy. So of course I just had to make sure there is no carbon monoxide before I start this video. So here we are now. But I have like a million smoke alarms and carbon monoxide things in my house. And I moved here about maybe 2.5 years ago. And I have purchased at least 10 new ones since I've moved. And I bought several different brands because I'm like, okay, maybe it's the brand. They say they last 10 years. For some reason they don't. And then like I've stayed at my mom's house, like house sitting for her, and the carbon monoxide and the smoke alarms will go off, and it's just so interesting. So I'm like, okay, what is that about? And I was just kind of like, okay, do I need to clear some energy? And I think it's always just good to cleanse and clear your energy on a daily basis. But I was like, what is going on here? So, and then I tried to go live like 3 times and the videos were glitching. So here we are. And I'm excited. So I'm teaching this new class. It's called Akashic Deep Dive. And it's all about the Akashic Records. So we're going to talk about that today. But the class starts on Friday. So I just am sharing this video, sharing this information so people who are interested can sign up before the class starts. It is going to be on Friday, which is March 8th. And today is Tuesday. So if you're interested, send me a DM, or you can just go to my website to sign up, which is my name. Everything's on my page in the bio thing. But today I'm going to talk about a little bit about who I am. I mean, I know people who follow me on Instagram probably know me, but since I'm sharing this in a larger ways, I want to share a little bit about who I am, why I'm teaching this class, what inspired me to teach this class, and then a little bit about what that class actually entails. This is a 12-week class, so it happens over 3 months, and it's going to be so amazing. I designed it in a way that people can attend even if they can't come on that live slot time, which is going to be 4 to 5:30 Pacific Standard Time on Friday, starting this week for 12 weeks. It's extended over 14 weeks, so I designed it that we're going to have 6 weeks where we work together week after week after week for 6 weeks. Then we're going to take 2 weeks off, and I'll share with you the dates in a minute, and then everything's on my website if you want to read and read in detail. But we're going to have 2 weeks off because the intention of this class is the first 6 weeks is really going to be about healing and connecting with yourself and opening up these different layers of connection with the Akashic Records, with our spirit guides, with our inner child. We're going to go over all that in a minute, but I just want to share like the structure. So it's 6 weeks, then 2 weeks off to integrate all that stuff that happened while you're healing yourself, while you're connecting. And then the second 6 weeks is going to be more about the protocols, learning how to read the Akashic Records. We're going to be talking about how to navigate that in terms of like questions you can ask, how to formulate these questions, how to even kind of like decipher this information. And everybody is different the way they perceive stuff. So I am a psychic, I'm an intuitive, I teach psychic development, and this is kind of like the next level of my teaching. I've been wanting to teach this class for years, and I did some one-on-one programs in 2020 with a couple people where we did this kind of process of going into the Akashic records. But the concept at that time was more that I was reading the records and sharing the information and translating it for them. And now what I really want to do is hold the space to help people learn how to do that for themselves. So the second 6 weeks is going to be more about like learning. It's lecture, it's information, but my classes are experiential. So I designed it so you can attend even if you can't come live. And then you can watch the replays on Zoom. I'm going to send out the recordings and everything. So even if you attend live, you'll also get access to that if you want to go through these experiences again. But then there's also going to be 3 bonus calls that ideally everyone will attend. But I am going to be sending out a poll to the students once the class closes, the enrollment closes, to talk about scheduling that, because there's people in different time zones. There's people with different work schedules and life and family and all the things. So I want to design that. So that is going to be more participatory, where we're going to be practicing reading the records together, connecting, asking questions. So that will be scheduled once the class closes, so we can figure out the time that will work for ideally everyone. But I'm calling it bonus because if you can't come, that's okay too. I want you to come because I want to connect with you. I want to help you and assist you. And I feel like we learn so much too from seeing other people do it. So I've done a couple medium circles where we practice mediumship together. And I've also attended classes like that. And I think it's very powerful because you can see the ways that everyone connects. But there's different ways of deciphering this information. So some of the stuff we're going to be going over and learning about is going to be like, how do I process this information? So Spirit School was my other class that I taught. I will teach it again, but that was more about basics of learning psychic development and mediumship and like, how do I process this? There's going to be a little bit about that in this class to help you understand how you perceive information. Because some people might go into this Akashic record space and it's very visual for them. They might be able to see things with their mind's eye. And then other people, it's more a sound, an auditory thing, or a like clear cognizant, like divine knowing. And that one is very hard to navigate because it's like, okay, I'm opening the records and I have all this information, but I'm not seeing anything. So we're going to talk about like different ways that you can experience things, and then more like protocols, like a process for you to use. The main intention of this class is to get you so connected with your authentic self and your own unique way of doing this that you won't need the process. You won't need my way of doing it. You'll have your way of doing it. And we're going to kind of uncover that together. But I'm going to share a process because I think that's the best way to begin. When I teach Reiki as well, I share both this step-by-step process that is more of like the Hayashi protocols. It's more step-by-step. And then I also teach this intuitive way. So I wanted to also bring that into the Akashic records because some people, it's a lot easier to do it in this intuitive way. Just go with the flow and see what comes through. And the other people are more analytical and they want like a process. So I've created this process and kind of summarized it in a way that I can help people practice that. So I'm going to pull up my website just so I can read the curriculum. And we'll talk a little bit about the classes. So I wish I could like screen share on Instagram, but they won't. They don't want us probably to do that because they don't want us to like get off the app. But yeah, so this class, it starts again on Friday, and we have a few more spots available. There's also going to be a like group chat basically on Telegram so that throughout the week people can share experiences that are coming up through doing these meditations and these practices we'll be doing together and this energetic healing stuff. And then also just connect, ask questions for me. So there'll be a time on Fridays, if people ask questions throughout the week before class starts, I'm going to go in there and kind of gather questions that I can help people with in class. So the class structure is going to vary week to week, but it's going to kind of start out with this first 6 weeks are going to be more experiential, more healing, like almost like a ceremony experience. So I'll start the class by talking, sharing. There'll be a little PowerPoint. You'll get a PDF, you'll have some tools and things to hold and journal prompts and things that you can use to like kind of unfold your experience, like integrate, like understand. Because it's like when we go through these spiritual experiences, a meditation, a healing, a ceremony, like some of it, the information can be so big and esoteric, and it's like, oh, I saw this vision, but what the heck does that mean? So just having some like more tangible things for you to do throughout this class, you'll have those to kind of connect with. And then there's also a few meditations that I'm going to be sending out to the students. So there'll be 3 meditations, and those are just for you to keep and to practice throughout the class. So the first class is called Journey to the Akashic Records. So we're going to talk about what are the Akashic Records. I'm going to go more in detail about my experience with that and kind of give you some explanations and ways that you can understand this more larger concept. And we're going to then journey into the Akashic Records. So we're going to do a healing meditation. If people have done my meditations before, I usually incorporate energy healing. So you'll be receiving energy healing throughout this whole class. So it's similar if you've done Reiki with me. It's similar to that kind of experience, but we do it through the Akashic Records, which is just a different vibration. It's just a different energy that we can channel. So there's so many different ways that we can use energy healing, different practices, different modalities. And the Akashic Records is just like a modality. So I explain it as like a place, like almost like a sacred place that we can go into. And within that place, we can access everything. And that gets overwhelming. So that's why we're doing a 3-month class about it because there's so much to see, so much to understand. So you can do things like connect with past lives, connect with your inner child, connect in mediumship. So each week we're going to be doing different things. So the first class is called Journey to the Akashic Records. We're going to go in there and you're going to begin experiencing it. So we're going to kind of go through, essentially it's a guided visualization. And then again, there'll be energetic healing. So I open with the lecture. We talk about the Akashic Records, and then we'll go into the healing experience. So the format of it is like that kind of for the first 6 weeks. So the second class is about the inner child. So we go into the Akashic Records to connect with our inner child and bring back those layers of authenticity from our childhood that maybe we forgot about. And then it's also about healing like blockages and things that are holding us back that maybe is something that happened to us when we were a child or a teenager. And this could go back and back further into past lives and ancestors. And we'll also be talking about that too. So the third class is about meeting your spirit guides. So within the Akashic Records, people name them all sorts of different things. We're going to go more into detail about like the logistics and the lingo in the class, but people will call them like record keepers or guides or spirit guides of the Akashic Records. So essentially we all have an energy that can help us navigate this space. So we're going to be meeting with those energies, remembering them, because you've already met them. You already know how to do all of this. It's just like remembering and opening you up to clearing fears, shame, doubt. Like that's all the stuff that holds us back from being able to actually like process the information that we're receiving, because we're like, oh, I don't know if that's real. I don't believe that. I don't trust that. Or am I crazy? Like all these things can come up. So we're going to be working on the energetic healing layer when we go into the inner child, when we connect with the spirit guides, so that we can feel even more comfortable going into these spaces and to connect with these different energies, entities, and beings, and The Akashic records could be used to connect with all sorts of different energies. So this is going to be like a journey to help you navigate. I see it as layers this way, but navigate different aspects of the space when you go up there. So everyone has their own Akashic records, but then there's also Akashic records for places, spaces, Earth in itself, different planets. It gets crazy. So we begin by starting with yourself, your inner child, then your guidance team. Then we connect to what I call timeline healing. So connecting to the past, the present, and the future. That's where we're going to go in and see, oh my gosh, there was a time where I betrayed myself. That's why I feel like I'm always betraying myself. How can I heal that? How can I let go? And it's not always important to obsess on like, oh, in 1942, this is what happened and blah, blah, blah. Like, and we'll talk about that in the class, kind of like deciphering information and not like letting it hold you back from healing. Because sometimes when we find these things out about ourselves from other lifetimes or from stuff in our memories or from our ancestors, it can make us feel, emotional. So it's like, how can we process these things and allow these things to integrate into our life so that we can use these things for useful purposes? So if you know that you have this emotion or blockage within your energy, then you can begin to let go. So oftentimes as we just go through this meditation, this visualization, this healing experience to go into the timelines, the past, present, and the future, it's just about like showing you that you can do it and that you can continue that practice. So each of these are kind of like a healing experience, a ceremony, as I said before, but it's also like a framework so that you can see, okay, this is how I get there. This is how I ask my question. This is how this is what it feels like when I go into the past. This is what it feels like when I go into the future. This is what it feels like when I go into whatever experience it's going to be, because it's endless. And again, that's why this is a long class. And then class number 5, we're going to focus on generational healing. So that ancestral connection, connecting through our ancestors. So we can do so much healing for ourselves and our family and the future generations through just healing storylines. Like in my family, a lot of people have been cheated on. And so I feel like that is something that I have been healing, like that idea that is going to happen to me, like that's going to happen to me. I'm going to be left or betrayed or whatever. And that's like that generational healing, like happened to not my mom. My mom, I feel like, was the one that started breaking it, because my mom has been with my dad since literal high school. So, but it's like before that, and aunts and uncles and things like that. So it's like certain things can be almost like a reoccurring pattern, but that can also be from a beautiful perspective too, like a positive thing. It doesn't necessarily have to only be like generational negative experiences. It could also be generational like tools and skills and magic and healing. And like in my family, there's a lot of teachers. My mom and my sibling both teach public school. I'm teaching esoteric knowledge, way different, but I'm teaching. And I teach all the time with my clients, and even when I work at the spa doing facials, I'm teaching people about their skin and teaching people how to take care of themselves and reminding people. So it's like, those are skills as well. And that goes like further back in my family. So for everyone, they have that experience. I'm going to take a sip of my little smoothie. I literally have 3 beverages right now. But yeah, so we do that. And then the 6th class is going to be about mediumship. So connecting to people that have passed on, but also connecting to like entities and energy. So like angels, cosmic beings, fairies, all that kind of fun out there, wild stuff. We're going to talk about it, and I'm really excited, and we're going to experience it together. So it's going to be really, really fun. After we do all that, it's a lot of healing and clearing and getting to know yourself and learning about yourself. And you don't have to have like experience to do these meditations. Like, they are going to be guided visualizations, but there's so many different layers to it. So basically you're going to be lying down and you're going to be experiencing. If you've ever done any of my meditations, or it's going to be kind of like that, but a little bit more longer and a little bit more journey style meditation. So we go through essentially a portal into the Akashic records. We're in that space. You can think of it as this sacred temple, this sacred space that we can all connect to. Through there, it's almost like there's different rooms and different doorways and different portals that we can open into, again, inner child, into your records, into my records, into whoever else's records. I always teach with the energy of, I guess, like consent, so I'm not going to just read people's records without their permission, and I'm not going to teach you how to do that either. But you can read anything. You could read anything. You could read a crystal. That's something that I really like doing. So it's very interesting. So after all that healing that we do, we go on to the next portal. So we spend 2 weeks kind of integrating, and you'll have meditations and journal prompts and things that you can work on, or you can simply just let things flow through and just do some gentle meditation on your own as we integrate everything. And then we go into the second 6 weeks, which is going to be more about learning to read the records, learning to decipher this information, and learning even like why we even want to do this. What's the importance of this? So class number 7, beginning the journey, reading the Akashic records. So we're going to talk about how you can do it. I'm going to talk more about that protocol and giving you a framework to help you understand the information that you are receiving. So the first 6 weeks, I really want to focus on that healing experience so that people can get more and more comfortable clearing layers, seeing how they receive, seeing how they experience it, and then begin actually reading. Because if we just want to open up and try to read the records probably the first time, one, you might just fall asleep because it's very relaxing. I feel like the first while when I was reading the Akashic records, I would just pass out because I was so tired. It was just a very high vibrational energy. But I want people to have some kind of clarity before we begin learning to read them. So we'll talk about what that even means, what it means to read the records, and what is the purpose of that. And that's going to be more lecture, and we will be doing some little activities, practice activities, and those will be designed again so people can do them even if they can't go live with us on Fridays on Zoom. And it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited. Yeah. And then the class number 8 is called Energize Yourself. So this is where we talk about energy healing in the Akashic Record. So I think that opening up to this energy allows you to begin to, again, connect with your authentic self, who you are uniquely as a person, and not even just as a person, but as a soul, as a unique experience of yourself through different dimensions, different portals, different pathways. So we talk about your unique way of energetic healing and connecting with going in there to heal yourself. And then also we talk about healing other people. So if you, one of the people that signed up does astrology readings. So it's they already do readings. So they could incorporate energetic healing with the records or incorporate the records with their readings. But the class is not necessarily designed only for people who are already doing spiritual work. This, if with the public, this could be for yourself, but we do spend some time talking about doing this with others. And I think even if you're not doing this in any kind of professional capacity, I think it's really powerful to play around with and do for people that you love in your life, to connect and to help them understand themselves. Of course, if people are interested, and there will be. And then we go into what everyone is probably the most excited about, Um, and we got to go later because people can get stuck in this layer where this is the only thing they want to do. And I don't always think this is the only thing we need to do. I think sometimes there's way more important things than doing this, but this can unlock so much. So this is a past life healing class. We're going to talk about how to read your past lives, how to heal your past lives, what is the point of looking at past lives, and how to look at the past lives of others. And then also like the way that I conceptualize those things gets very complex. So we have to have a whole class around it, because if we think about it truly, there is no past because everything is happening at the same time. And that's what the records really are, is everything's happening at the same time. There's a radio on and a TV and everything's playing and blah, blah, blah. There's so much information. So this class is to help you understand how to navigate it, how to read it, how to decipher it. It's not always like a piece of paper that you're reading. There might be things like that. People might experience it like that, but it's so much more than that. So in class number 10, we talk about reading the records, asking questions, and gaining information. So in that class, I designed it to help you to learn how to like formulate your questions, because it's not like when we go into the Akashic records, it's not really like a yes or no type of question. There's certain things, the way we formulate questions will aid us into how much information we're going to receive. So we talk about how to like formulate the questions, how to decipher the information, and then we'll like practice and do different activities to formulate questions and read information yourself. So there'll be like essentially every class has an activity. So it's going to be really fun. And then it's not going to be just like me talking the whole time. There will be more like practice where you can understand how this works for you. And then we have our class 11, reading the records, exploring doing readings for others, and reading the records of time. So that one is going to be really interesting. So that's where we start talking about reading the records for other people. We began a little bit earlier talking about doing energetic healing in the records for other people, but now we're going to talk about how to actually like set up a reading, how to formulate that, how to make it into like an offering and something that you can give to other people, whether that's for clients, paying clients, or just in your personal life. And then reading the records of time is really interesting. So as I just said, I really subscribe to the idea of consent. I'm not just going to read anyone's records. I'm going to read the records if people want me to do it, if they ask me to do it, if they invite me to do it. I will read their records. And there's certain information that you're going to need for that. It's basically name and birthday. And we talk about, again, protocols in this class. But when we read the records of time, it's more about going into past experiences or into experiences of, I guess, more environments is how I would describe it. So if we were to read the records of like a tree, very interesting. Again, crystals, as I talked about before. But it could also be like, okay, I know my ancestors came from like Bosnia in a certain year or something. Maybe you could go and look at that moment in time. It's not necessarily that you're reading the records of those specific people, but it's like the time. And I feel like that can help us understand things in deeper ways, because it shows multiple perspectives at once. It's not just one person's perspective. It's like the perspective of many different things. And it gets kind of crazy to think about that. So that's why we're doing it that pretty much when the class is over, because you'll be ready by then to understand some of those things. And it's not like you can understand it if I explain it to you, but it's just like, so much of this stuff is just like, we can talk all day about it, but if we don't do it, if we don't experience it, it's just like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like a glitching. We can't process it. We can't understand it. So we need to experience it. We need to go through it. We need to swim, dive deep. That's why this is called Akashic Deep Dive. And the last class is going to be like a ceremony, an activation, an initiation, basically. So if you've done Reiki or anything similar, you know that there are something called attunements. So that is opening up your energy body so that you can receive more information, so that you can channel this healing energy. Anyone could read the Akashic Records. You don't need an activation to do it. You could literally do it now. But this is going to help you feel more grounded in your body in order to open up to some of this higher vibrational, like crazy out there esoteric information. Because when we learn all this, it can be destabilizing to be like, oh, my past lives, my inner childhood, it's just so much. So I want to approach this from a grounded perspective, I am a human and I'm Grace and I am here in this moment, but I'm also so many other things, and I can look at my soul in so many other ways. But again, I'm human and I need to eat food and I need to drink water and I need to do normal human things. And so I want to do this activation ceremony to help people like ground themselves into their body and to feel more relaxed and strong inside of themselves, in order to then, look outside of themselves in such a wide lens perspective. So I'm calling this the Akashic Activation Ceremony, and then we're going to do a guided journey meditation that is connecting to the future self. So this is the last class that we'll have. So my intention is to open people up with this initiation kind of attunement ceremony, and then we'll go into this journey meditation and really just like looking at our future and kind of like manifesting and bringing the things in that we desire, and what comes next after we learn all this information. Am I going to do readings? Am I going to heal this? Am I going to do that? What is the purpose of this for me? What's the next step for me? So it's just like really gaining that information from yourself through the lens of the Akashic Records, because everything happens within that space within this class. And then additionally, we'll have the 3 bonus classes. As I mentioned earlier, those classes will be scheduled once enrollment ends, so that I can find a time that will work ideally for everyone's schedule, because I have people in different areas. So we want to make sure that most people can come, because that class is going to be more practice, and we're going to learn to read each other's records, and we're going to practice with each other and ask questions. So it'll be 3 classes, 45 minutes long. Those will be scheduled. Additionally, you'll get, I'm reiterating myself, but otherwise I'll forget something probably. But additionally, you're going to get 3 different meditations to practice with. One is going to be like a breath work kind of meditation. The other one is a movement practice. And this is something to help you get grounded in your body before you open up the channel. So I'll show you kind of some of my process. And if you follow me, you probably know that I love to dance. So there will be dancing involved. And it's going to be fun. And those are just things for you to utilize. And there'll be PDFs and journal prompts. So there'll be some things to kind of like integrate all this information. So that's what the class is all about. It starts on Friday. The sign-ups will end on Friday, so you can sign up right before the class, but I'd love if you just sign up now, because then I will know who's going to be in the class. And the energy is going to be great. We have a really cool people signed up already. I'm really excited. We have 4 people signed up. I really feel like there's going to be 7 people. That's what Spirit keeps telling me. 7 people, 7 people. The class is open to 10 people. So if you want to sign up, you can still sign up. It's going to be amazing. And again, this is the first time that I'm teaching this class. So there's going to be a lot of activation and healing for myself. And so I am an intuitive. I'm an energy healer. I designed and created this class to incorporate both my intuitive abilities and my energetic healing skills to share with people how they can do that stuff too. But I've been thinking about doing this class for like 3 years. I originally did something called Akashic Deep Dive in 2020, and that was just like a one-on-one experience where I was reading people's records and sharing that information with them. But now I want to share with people how they can do that work for themselves. So for me, the Akashic Records is like a blueprint. It's like everything that ever was, could be, and will be. So again, that's so vastly overwhelming. So I really wanted to find a way that I can like compartmentalize it to help people to understand such a large concept. It's also an energetic space. So when we go into a journey, we are traveling through time and space, dimensions. So if you've ever done a journey meditation, oftentimes you're going through a tree or a window or a doorway, and you're like symbolically in your mind visualizing yourself going from one space to the next. So we do this into the Akashic Records. This is a higher vibrational energy that is essentially like sitting above us. I see this as our soul star. So we have our chakras, our energy centers that are within us. There's way more than just the chakras, 7 chakras. I mean, if you look at like acupuncture, there's billions and millions of little energy points. So there's so much. But I see it as like our soul star. Like this, our crown connects us to our intuition. And then above that is this, basically the iCloud. We can access all that information, but we don't need to store it within our physical body. When we store information within our physical body, it can lead to discomfort and pain and all sorts of different things. We often do this all the time. That's why we can get these random reoccurring fears or these physical ailments that show up again, or like the infinite reoccurrence of the same story again and again. We can store this stuff in ourselves. So it's inflammation. The information causes inflammation. So we can access all that stuff without it being in our body. So when we heal and clear the past lives, that's essentially what I see us doing, is we are holding on to the memories, integrating them. If there was a skill that we had, we can bring it back into our lives. If there was something that happened to us that was painful, we can let it go. But we can also remember it and look at it and read it and access it, but we don't need it within our body. So that's kind of why I say it's like the iCloud, because you could download it and then read it, have that file, but then you don't need to store it on your computer. Same thing. The human body is like a computer. And I always use those analogies of computers and stuff. One is just because my guides describe it as a way, and I'm like, I literally don't know like shit about fucking technology. So I'm like, I don't know why you describe it that way. But I feel like in a larger way, it helps people just understand. Hello. Hi, Grace. I have a question. Do you suggest learning Reiki before diving into the Akashic Records? I'm just going to read it one more time, because if people are listening back, they can actually read the question. And hi, it's so nice to see you. I love you. Hi, Grace. I have a question. Do you suggest learning Reiki before diving into the Akashic Records? Not necessarily. There are a couple people in this class that have already studied Reiki, and we will talk about energy healing, or just in general, if you want to look at the Akashic Records on your own. It can be helpful because it's just like a system to help you understand how to process energy and move energy, but you don't need that prior experience at all. And this class is like really about helping people connect with their own authentic, like their unique energetic healing, because we all have our own like signature. I see it as like flowing water, like energy that moves through us, and we could channel it through us. But it feels different than just like giving your energy away. Like if you're like giving love or energy away, like sometimes that can feel draining and tiring. When we're channeling our own like signature frequency through us, it is almost like that God source frequency, similar concept to Reiki, that flows through us. That's like I see it as like our soul's energy. We can channel it through us, but it's not like we're getting drained by just like using our own energy. So I think any kind of, like if people have a breathwork practice or like tarot or whatever, any kind of like intuitive practice, I think it can be helpful to connect to the Akashic records, because it's just like, oh, I already have a way that I can begin to decipher information, but I don't think it's necessary for this class. Does that answer your question? But now I got off track. I don't remember what I was saying before that. Let me look at the site. Again, if you want to sign up, this is all on my website. For me, it's like, I don't even know why. Okay, yes, it does. Thank you. I love you. I love you too. I miss you. I was literally thinking about you yesterday, and I was like, oh, I never fucking hit her up because we're gonna hang out. So eventually we will, and I'm looking forward to it. So, but yeah, and you're very intuitive, so I think you could do this easily. Anyone could. You don't need any experience, but it's the protocols and I think it's like the integration, like having a group to help you understand what is happening. And then I also see that as like a container, like when we go into a class or like a ceremony or like a healing session, or even with ourselves, if we're like, oh, I want to do like a challenge like for a week, or like a whatever online challenge, like it holds us in this space where I think there's almost more like rapid transformation, because we're focusing on something for a certain amount of time. And then especially in a group, we're like activating and like bringing that energy higher. So I think like it's going to be, for myself, definitely going to be very transformative. And yeah, I don't even know why, like initially I felt called to like look at the Akashic records, and I talked about this on another live like recently, but like I heard about it for the first time on a podcast. That's like where I usually hear about everything. And that's why I love having my podcast, because I'm like, oh, I get to have these cool conversations that I before was just like listening to on someone else's podcast. Now I get to have the conversations in real life. But I heard about it on podcasts and I just felt so drawn to it. Then I ended up reading a book about it and it just started opening up for me. And when I started with my like opening up to mediumship and stuff, it kind of just naturally evolved for me that there was more than just what people might call traditional mediumship, which is like connecting to the other side, like someone that passed away, a dead loved one, a relative, or, you know, anyone on the other side. It was like more than that for me. Like, and that's something that is so beautiful and I value that practice a lot. And that's something that I can do, but it's harder for me to do than to just open up to this vast plane of everythingness, which is some people call the quantum field or the Akashic records, that infinite knowledge of information. It was easier for me to open up to that. And there was just so much information that I was like, okay, how the heck do I fucking like read this? It was like a million screens in front of my mind. And I'm like, how do I understand this? So it took me a while. And then eventually, after doing readings like for myself and other people and like kind of just like spitting out information for 2 hours, I was like, maybe I should take a class to help me understand like what this stuff is. So I did take some training with this woman, Josephine Hardman. She was amazing. It was like a one-on-one class. And that was like 4 years ago now, which is crazy because it feels like it was just yesterday. But she just helped me like kind of like begin to understand the information that I was receiving. And then at the same time, I began to open up to all this kind of cosmic, wild initiations and energies with so many interesting experiences I've had in the physical as well as just like in meditation with like different energies like angels and aliens and stuff like that. So I was like, what is happening? But I have had some experiences where these beings come into my space and we are like together. Not like they're standing in front of me, but like I feel them in my space. But it was more so that my energy was just being drawn up into this like temple space. And I was like, what is this? What is this? And eventually I understood, okay, that's the Akashic record. So all these beings and these guides, I could channel and connect through mediumship in that space rather than them coming down and talking to me, or essentially with, crossed over loved ones, dead people, basically. I would have to lower my vibration to communicate with them. So it was like even more confusing. So essentially my guides were like, okay, this is the place that you need to begin to connect to. So then I started opening up to the records and understanding, okay, this is like basically a platform, a ceremony, a sacred place, a temple, a church, whatever, where these people can come in and I'm surrounded by this positive energy, this healing energy, this vibration, and we can talk and we can have a conversation. I could read you, share information, but we could also just hang out there and healing would happen. Healing would happen because I was channeling the energy of the records through me, as well as getting to know my own signature energy. And my guides call that magnetic healing. In this class, I hope that people will discover what theirs is called. But it was really interesting. So I got the idea that I wanted to teach this class, and I thought I was ready like 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, I'm going to teach this class. I even talked about on my podcast. I was like, oh, I can't wait to do this. It's going to happen. And it just never happened. It just wasn't time yet. And so now I'm finally ready. I feel like my energy is grounded enough that I can hold this space to be able to share this information, not only with one person, but with a group of people and for an extended amount of time, and to go through all the layers of healing while also holding the space as teacher. So I'm very excited because I know things always happen in divine timing. So even though I got the idea like a while ago, time is now. Time is now. And oftentimes when we get information too, like it can be ahead of time. Like sometimes when I do readings, there will be stuff that's like quick and soon, but a lot of times it's like 5 years. And I'm like, I forget about things and then they'll happen. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing that I talked about like 5 years ago. I'm going to drink my water. Yeah, and then we also talk about like just tips for people as they're channeling, as they're opening up to these energies or doing readings, or it's doing energy healing, or just holding this space within your life of connection to the Akashic records. Like we talk about like tangible things that are helpful for you, I don't know why I said it that way, you as a channel, as a healer, as a intuitive being, to help ground you. So that's why we have the movement practice that's going to be included in this class to help you like move your body and get yourself ready. But we also talk about like drinking water and electrolytes and just like more tips I have as someone that's been doing this for a while now, to like stay inside your physical body as you are ascending into higher consciousness. But it's going to be cool. So this class is 333. You know, I got to do those angel numbers. It's a 12-week class. There are payment plans if you would like or need them. You just have to put a deposit down before the class starts, and it's $88 deposit. If people sign up and they do the payment plan, you'll just get an email and I'll chat with you and see what you need. I either do a weekly payment or a bi-weekly. No, what is it? Bi-monthly? I always miss those ones. Every other week. whatever you need. So that part I'm not worried about. If people want payment plans, that is very easy. And you just go to my website to sign up. If you want, you can DM me for the link if you need it. But it's on my page, and it's my name, gracelandon.com. But yeah, it starts this week. And if you would like to ask questions about this class or chat with me, you can DM me or comment before I close the video. Or I can always meet with you on a little consultation. But we're starting really soon. And I don't know, Spirit keeps telling me 7 people. I don't know if that includes me. So I'm waiting for these other people to sign up. So I am going to remind you every day until class begins. And I'm really excited. Moonlight Lover, I will be signing up. Oh, yay, I'm so excited. I'd love to have you. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can DM me about anything or just in general. But I have, I've been doing this little candle. So every time I teach a class, I tune into the energy. Who's supposed to be in this class? What's the vibe? What's the energy? What's the group going to be like? How many people? And I'll kind of check in with Spirit. Oh, yay. I love that. A little synchronicity. That's perfect. Yeah, I have to harass people a million times about the classes because I feel like Instagram hides the algorithm isn't the best. But the lives help and then I get to talk. I love to talk, so. But yeah, I tune into the energy. I'm who's supposed to be in the class? What's the vibe? And I'll create a candle. So I've been doing this purple. Well, I did a votive candle. That was a white candle, just a clear energy for myself. Any doubts that I'm not going to be able to do this, because I know I'm going to be able to do this. I do a lot of amazing things and I can do this and I'm ready to do this and I'm beyond excited. And I just know even more downloads and information is going to come in as I begin teaching this class more than I've already even prepared for this class. So that should be interesting. But I created this little candle to clear shit from myself. And then I've been doing purple candles to draw people in, to open up that intuition. But I have some crystals just to activate everything. And I wanted rose quartz to open up the heart, to open up to that authentic divine love. And pink opal, opening up again that heart space. But opal to me is also transformative possibilities. So we had to bring her in, and green aventurine, got to bring that money in. People got to sign up for the class. And I got angelite, which is one of my favorite crystals. This one is one of the first crystals that I used to channel, angels and connect with angels. Yes, the idea of reading the records for crystals in trees. It's so interesting. The crystals, that was the first thing that happened for me. They were we would like to talk to you. I mean, they don't talk like that, but they wanted to talk to me. And this was the first, not this specific angelite. I have a different one, but angelite was the first crystal that came through to me that was we want you to help us channel this angelic frequency. So this crystal is very important to me. And then I have citrine, which is also helping people connect with that abundant energy, because the Akashic Records to me is, again, that energy of infinite possibilities. So citrine really helps us connect with that. But citrine is also an activator for that abundance. So abundance is, money, but it's so much more than that too. The infinite possibilities, the frequency of love. And, I love using, I can't pronounce that one. I always mess up with that. Celestite and apotholite to connect with spirit. Yes, me too. Apotholite. I have, this one too. This one's active. The apotholite I love for that scrying kind of practice where you'll stare at a crystal and the information comes in. I have a apotholite. I'm getting chills. I have a apotholite that I'll use for that. But I haven't done that in a while, so that's a good reminder for me to play around and practice with the apotholite. But yeah, crystals are so powerful, and they hold memories too. So I see it as like the Akashic Records is almost like a space for us to, again, like open up and decipher the information so we could use the crystals almost to speak to those memories. It's very interesting. And trees too. One of the first Akashic Records readings I did for someone other than like close friends, like someone who's a paying client, I was so nervous, of course, because I'm like, this is so weird. I don't know how to explain anything. I feel so awkward. And it was someone I'd never met before either. So I was like really nervous. It went well, by the way. But I opened up to their records, and in their past life, they were a tree. And I was like, how the fuck do I explain this to someone? And like, it was beautiful. There was a lot of information that came in. It was very powerful. But I just was like, I felt so silly because I was like, okay, well, you were a tree. And then like, I remember another reading that I did for someone. And it's like, we'll talk about this in the class too. Like, you don't have to hold all the memories of every reading you've ever done. It will be way too much information to hold. But like, things will pop in and out. Like, or if I do a reading for someone that I've done a reading for before, like, I'll be like, oh yeah, all that stuff we talked about, like, it will kind of come back. So when you open up the channel, you can access all the information. It's all there, but you don't need to hold it in your brain or your body. So the memories, we don't have to hold them. But I do remember one reading I did for someone where they were a crystal at the bottom of the ocean. And it was so beautiful. And they really like resonated with it, because I felt like strange being like, well, you were this crystal at the bottom of the ocean, and they like really got it. So it's like those moments where I trust and believe so much, or like where things come through like different cosmic beings and energies, and I'm like, this is so weird, I don't know how to tell someone this. And then when I tell them, they like cry or they're like so happy, and I'm like, oh, okay, I just have to say the hard strange things. I have to be that hard strange woman who's a little kooky, crazy bananas. But when I share those things, it always works out. And that's why I really love the Akashic Records, because it helps me feel, again, more connected to my authentic self. So that's what I really want to focus on in this class, is bring that experience of clearing these layers of like disconnection from self, so that we can trust ourselves, trust our intuition. My guides will call this the trust muscle, our intuition, the trust muscle. We got to build it up, because like if I was 10 years before I started doing readings, like if I had done them then, I absolutely would have not said like any of the stuff that I was seeing and perceiving. So I think like sometimes it's like you got to build up that muscle so that you can then share that information. And it doesn't have to be a one-on-one session. You could channel the Akashic Records through a painting. If you're an artist, I love to do this. I have a painting in my office that I created of my Akashic Records and like what it looks like to me. But you could channel them through a painting, or if you cook, you could channel this healing frequency into your food. Like, there's infinite possibilities. It doesn't have to be only the structure of like a reading, but we will talk about like a protocol. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think it's about an hour, and I don't know how, I think Instagram usually kicks me off, so I don't want to lose this video. So I'm going to save this. DM me if you have questions, if anyone wants to chat on a little Zoom consult call or anything. If you're like, I think I want to sign up, I'm not sure, like, can I meet you if we've never like worked together before? I have time tomorrow, which is Wednesday, or Thursday morning. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm excited to meet you. It's going to be great. So that's the details. I'm going to save this video, put it on my YouTube and on the podcast. If you haven't listened to the latest podcast, we have a great interview in my podcast, Angel Face Magic Hour. So you can check that out. We have some good ones coming up, and yeah, we're going to be back live soon for our tap-in meditations. I said I was going to do them in February, and I didn't because I was so busy getting ready for this class. But yeah, we'll be back for live meditations. If people want to hang out with me a lot, sign up for the class, and we'll see you for like 3 months. Okay, bye! Have a wonderful day, y'all. Thank you for listening to me. Bye, y'all.